clear as day that the police are targeting black people in this country. White people listening, please empathize, educate yourself, and most importantly, above everything, look out for your black brothers and sisters in any way, shape, or form you can. Have you ever been driving in your car and you're almost home because you don't live far and you hear the sirens and see the lights? Is there a genie here? Can I wish myself white? Can I click my heels like I'm Dorothy Gale? Are they going to shoot or am I going to jail? Is my license nearby? Is my location on? The music's up, but I'll turn down the song. I've never sped, no DUI, but even if I had, that's no reason to die. They don't care if you're married or have a wife, they play God all the time and they'll take your life. They say they are scared. He was armed. I simply got nervous. He made me alarmed. Even if your hands are way in the sky and you're telling the truth with no reason to lie, they say they feared for their safety. That guy was a threat. Shooting my gun was the safest bet. Who trained these cops to be so afraid? It's protect and serve, not shoot and raid. This time the sirens weren't for me. Something else made that cop car leave and flee. So I take a deep breath and I make my way home. I close my eyes and I clear my dome. Being black and alive is not a crime. Getting home safe shouldn't feel lucky each time.
It's time for
the
Rocket Run.
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Another insane week to be an American, Party God Squad, I'll tell ya. Isn't it funny that we all saw the video and we all knew he was guilty, but we weren't sure what the verdict was gonna be? That's really fucking scary. I am fully vaccinated and I'm going to be honest. I miss going to the gym. My whole house is fully vaccinated. Can I go to the gym? Is that what people are doing? I'm certainly not going to get in shape for the summer the way I'm sitting on this couch, so I need to know, is the gym a go? I feel like breaking a little sweat, leaving the gym, then walking past all the restaurants in my neighborhood, making the happy diners, and little do those diners know, I'm just going home to microwave a plate of nachos. I guess they didn't know that unless they listen to this. Cat's out of the bag. Speaking of walking around my neighborhood, I love to take a couple tokes, put on a podcast I've never heard before, and walk around my neighborhood. So I'm walking around a few days ago, and I see a new pizza joint. Yes, a joint. I think it sounds old-timey and fun to call a pizza place a joint because they are joints. If I didn't have my mask on, anyone on that block would have seen me leading mouth first, trying to get a good look inside this pizza joint. It just smelled great and it looked really cool. My jaw might as well have been on the ground. And then I hear my name. I run into a friend. If I was not masked to the max, she would have basically seen me looking like Jim Carrey in The Mask when he sees Cameron Diaz for the first time. I mean, my jaw was agape. My question is this: how am I not going to make these faces when we lose the masks in the future? When we're no longer required to mask up, I gotta retrain my face to do better. I'm singing songs full out with my mask on. I'm dropping my jaw when I see food I want to eat and men I want to eat me. It's a whole other set of learning we're gonna have to get accustomed to. I might just stay masked. It was nice to run into a friend. This is my last episode I'm releasing as a 32-year-old woman. That's right, my Jesus year is rapidly approaching this Thursday. I'm kind of excited. I used to be so sad about aging and just scared of getting older. I actually cried on my 18th birthday because I fell over the hill. Can you believe that? What a nuh-uh. Nah, now I feel good. If anyone has a Groupon or a hookup on a place to freeze my eggs, though, holla at you, girl. I went to visit my parents this week, and each of them had something funny to say, which I will now share with you. The first was when I went with my dad to get his second COVID shot. Just a sidebar, if you're an anti-vaxxer listening to this podcast, cut that shit out. Your algorithms are convincing you that you shouldn't get the vaccine and that it's not safe and that you're the guinea pig for some government experiment, listen to me and listen to me good. We are watching science work in front of our eyes after a year-long pandemic. Year-long and counting. Cut it out and make your appointment. You sound dumb, and you aren't dumb. You wicked smart. So get a shot. Wink. So I go with my dad to get his second shot, and he refused to stay for the 15 minutes after. He is a very silly and funny guy. He got recognized by most of the people in line when we were there, and he just wasn't having that 15 minutes after. So I'm really fortunate nothing happened to him on our drive back, but damn, I got him to sit for 10 minutes. The lady says, "I can't make you stay," and the second... The second she said, "I can't make you stay," he got right up. Gotta love somebody who beats to their own drum. My mom and I watched Jerry Seinfeld's comedy special 23 Hours to Kill, and she said in all seriousness that her favorite part of it was how relevant it was. This made me laugh because I don't know if she's just been watching comedy specials from the 1980s, but Mom, and I know you're listening, Mom, stand-ups are supposed to be relevant to the times. That's the whole thing. And I said that to her face, and then we laughed. We laughed harder than any joke Jerry Seinfeld said. Sorry, Jer. No, his special was really fun, and you should watch it in your free time if you haven't. I only have one highest thought this week, and it's directed to you, Netflix. Turn down the dun-dun. The Netflix dun-dun. It's before every episode of every show they have, and it doesn't matter if your TV is on motherfucking mute. You hear that shit. Chill. How about you adjust the volume on your end, Netflix, because I am jarred. If you haven't done so already, maybe as a birthday gift to me, you can write a positive review on Apple Podcasts. It sure helped me out, and it's cheaper than balloons. Thank you to those of you who have done so already. In the meantime, in between time, please like and share and subscribe to the podcast. 21 episodes in, guys, and I'm just getting started, baby. My guest this week was the lovely, talented, sweet, and funny Sophia Lee. Sophia is a model, actress, comedian, and most importantly, she's a kind gal. Her wild word was edible, so consider this a belated 420 episode, which I hope those of you who did celebrate this week had a great 420. She told an amazing story, and we do talk about the act of vomiting in it. If that is a trigger to anyone in the Party God Squad, you may want to put the car in reverse right now. Otherwise, strap in, have an amazing My Birthday week, and be happy and grateful to be alive. I know I am. And now, enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Sophia Lee. Sophia, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Absolutely. I love your setup in the background. Is that your bedroom?
Oh no, this is my living room. I'm like super into like interior design and like boho.
Yeah. So. It shows. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. So I have to ask, how has your quarantine experience been through this pandemic in terms of entertainment and comedy?
I mean, it's been interesting because
okay.
I just moved to LA from New York.
Wow.
Right before the pandemic. So I was like struggling a little bit, but then I got to do a lot of online virtual shows. Mm-hmm. My connections back in New York, which was great. Like The Pit. I did like 2-3 shows with The Pit online.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I'm heavily, or I was before, obviously, The Pit is shut down now, but that was my home base theater. I was heavily involved there for a really long time. So that's a super bummer. But it's kind of cool you moved to LA, and I mean, obviously the pandemic is not cool, but what a good time to move to LA and then still be able to do shows with your New York people. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the one great thing because obviously I don't have any connections in LA yet. And I was like, oh, thank God everything's virtual because I still get to do like what I love with connections and stuff.
Good. Now, I know things are still a little crazy in LA as they are here, but stuff is lifting a little bit. Do you find yourself trying to immerse yourself? I know they're doing a lot of open outside stand-up shows and everything.
I feel like I haven't been really, so I don't really do stand-up. I never stand-up, but I would love to be a part of anything comedy. I'm like slowly like starting to find stuff online.
Good.
Applying, auditioning, yeah.
Well, in the meantime, I don't know about you. I love marijuana. So I will enjoy my marijuana usually at the end of the day. Lately, I've been trying to do a lot more edibles simply for vanity because I don't want all the smoke in my face. But I know your wild word is edibles. So why don't we go right into your story? Everyone's dying to hear your story about
Okay.
edibles.
Yeah, so my first time ever trying edibles.
Uh-huh.
I've like smoked weed before, but I was like, it's not my thing. I get super paranoid. Never had a great experience, but I was like, you know what? Edibles might be different. My friend was like, okay, it's my birthday, like a couple weeks ago. She's like, I want to get like 6 girls, just take edibles at my apartment. That's gonna be my birthday party. I was like, cool, sounds amazing.
Yeah. Did you know the girls that were coming to her birthday party? Were they friends?
Yeah, they were all like, we were all kind of friends. I was like really good friends with her and like one other person, and like the ones were best friends. And then we all get there. We're like super excited. It's late at night. She brings out this brownie, like some random brownie. They're tiny brownies, by the way.
Okay.
And she's like, okay, like, well, the guy said that this was really strong, so maybe we should all just take like half. And I'm like, okay, it sounds good. I'm gonna take 1/3, just to be safe,
Yeah.
So everyone takes a half. I take a 1/3. Like an hour goes by, no one's feeling anything. I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, what's going on? I start to feel a little bit, and then I'm like, it goes away.
Had you had edibles before? This was not your first time, or it was?
This was my first time.
Gotcha.
So I was like, this is so weird. I don't understand how it works, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let me take that other little bit and like match with everyone. So I took half, right? So I take that. I'm okay. I'm not feeling anything. One of my friends, she's like, I don't feel anything. Mind you, she's never taken edibles before either.
Wow. Okay.
She takes the whole thing. So that's where it all started going downhill, kind of. So she takes the whole thing. I'm like, I took half. Everyone else took half.
Okay.
I'm slowly starting to feel it, like slowly.
Okay. Yeah, it's rolling.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm feeling it. It's great. This is a good high, and then it just keeps going up and up and up and up, and I'm like panicking. I'm like, okay, like. Okay, it's like it's I'm getting higher and higher by the second. Like it's fine, don't freak out. So I'm okay.
Let me ask you this: so you're feeling it. It's coming up. You're like, this is definitely kicking in. I didn't think it was going to kick in. Now it's definitely kicking in. Were there any activities going on? I know it was a birthday, but was there alcohol involved? Were you guys trying to play board games, watch a movie? What other kind of things were going on in the house?
There was no alcohol because we just wanted to get high. We were
right.
eating like a bunch of cupcakes that someone made, like just watching TV, just chatting.
Yeah.
It was like really chill environment. No, nothing like such heavy activity or anything. So yeah, I'm getting insanely high at this point.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I'm starting to freak out, but I'm like, don't ruin the mood. Don't ruin hide that shit. Like you're good.
You're good.
I look over to my friend that has taken the whole thing. She's panicking. Like she is freaking out. And I'm like, oh God, don't look at her. Yeah. Don't look at her. It's going to freak you out more. And she's like breathing really crazy. She's like looking at me crazy. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm like trying to like stay away from her. Cause I'm like, you know what? Like I'm freaking out too. And then she goes into her room. Cause she was roommates with the birthday girl.
Got it.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? Like everything's fine. People are starting to feel it a little bit too. Like everyone's starting to get a little high. We all go into her room. She's flipping out. She's like, I need to go to the ER. I need to go to the ER right now. She starts having a full-blown mental breakdown. I'm starting to have a full-blown mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Everyone else starts freaking out because we're all like high as shit at this point. Yeah. Like the whole house is just freaking out.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh my God, I need to go to the ER. I need to go see a doctor. I'm dying. And I'm like, oh my God. I step out of the room. I'm like, I can't be in there. So we're like Googling stuff like drink milk. It's going to help you go down. So we're chugging milk. Chugging milk.
And I gotta imagine the age group is probably like mid to late 20s. Am I safe in assuming that?
Yeah, it's like mid 20s.
Nobody in their mid to late 20s should ever be chugging milk. We're all lactose intolerant. Like, let's just put that out there right now.
Yeah, it was not a good time. We're chugging. I don't even like milk to begin with.
Oh my God.
I gotta bring myself down. I gotta try something. So we're chugging milk. It's not working. We're like, you know
Shocker.
what? We gotta throw it up.
Oh my God.
We're all like, you know what? Everybody's got to throw up at this point. So
yeah.
So we start throwing up. Like 2 people are throwing up in the bathtub. One is throwing up in the toilet. I'm throwing up in a plastic bag.
Yeah, it's like a scene from Bridesmaids when they're all sick.
It was crazy. And like my friend is in the room still freaking out while we're all throwing up.
Like she's gonna come out and see that. Like that's gonna help her at all.
I know, right? So we're taking turns. Like I'm like, okay, you go to the bathtub. I'm gonna go back to the toilet, and like we're taking turns like throwing up everywhere. There's piles of throw up in the bathtub.
Oh my God. The smell must have been unreal.
Oh, it was disgusting, but we were
Yeah.
too high to even care.
Yeah.
So we're still like batshit high. So we're like, okay, I go lay on the couch and I'm like frozen at this point. Like I'm gonna die. This is how
this is it.
I die. My tongue's swelling up. I can't breathe. I can't move. So I'm like staring at the TV, and then my friend's like, okay, she turns off all the lights and the TV while I'm still awake, but I can't say anything because I'm so fucking high.
Yeah.
So I finally fall asleep for like a couple hours that night. I wake up, I'm still high.
It's the worst.
I think I was high for about like almost like 36 hours.
Yeah.
It was, and then so I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, let's go to the bathroom.
Yeah, back to the throw up. Like
the throw up. There's throw up everywhere. So we're scooping the throw up out with our hands because it clogged the drain in the bathtub.
Oh my God. So now when you were going back to the bathroom, were you going back to throw up more, or were you like, oh, we need to like shower and like get back to being alive?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't need to throw up anymore. You know, I'm still high, but it's like crazy. So we're just like cleaning the bathroom, cleaning up the throw up, scooping throw up with our hands.
Okay.
And then I went home.
Now, how did you get home? Did you take an Uber?
I Ubered home, but I was like still high in the Uber, like.
So that was crazy. Now the girls, I'll start with the girls. Did any of the girls, was there anyone there who was kind of a weed aficionado? Anybody who was kind of trying to be like, hey girls, this is just what weed does. Like, let's put on a funny movie, or everybody was just kind of flipping?
Yeah, I feel like for the most part, when we all started panicking, everybody started panicking.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy because a bunch of the people at that party were like weed connoisseurs, like they were like potheads, but we were just like insanely high, all of us, and it was like they're like, this is the strongest thing I've ever taken.
Yeah.
I was like, well, me too.
Now, what about for your next time trying edibles or weed? Did you ever go back?
I did, but I made sure I took like the tiniest bit, so like I barely even got high.
Gotcha.
Because I was so paranoid, and I stayed away from it for like years.
Really?
Yeah, because I was so traumatized from that event. Yeah.
That's crazy. I know a girl, but she is gluten-free and a really, really good chef. She makes really good gluten-free dishes. She started an Instagram page about it, et cetera, but she also really loves marijuana. So for a few years in a row, she would have a 420 party. Now, hostess with the mostest would basically say to everybody, you don't have to bring anything, just bring yourself and bring your appetite and be ready to get very stoned. It was really gracious. Like she didn't really expect anything from anybody. Of course, people brought their own weed. Of course, people would bring their own edibles, whatever, their own smoking pieces, back in a time when people could share pieces. And so I went to this party a couple years in a row. The last one I went to was the day before Easter. And so she happens to be my neighbor. She lives about maybe a 7-8 minute walk away from me, not even 10 minutes away. So I go to this party. 420 happens to happen on a Saturday night. I walk to her house. I go to the party. Now, this is how cute this chick is. She has all these little gluten-free treats, a few non-gluten-free treats. Everything's labeled. Everything says the milligrams.
Oh my God.
It was like something out of a movie. I mean, she really outdid herself. So I was taking like macaroni and cheese that was edible infused, and then little peanut butter snacks that were edible infused, and these Cheez-Its. And at the time, I was a weed smoker, but I wouldn't say I was a super stoner. Like I was known for smoking weed, but I wouldn't be high every single solitary day.
Right.
And my edible tolerance was very low. So I took 110 milligrams of edibles over the course of this party. Now, and I got there about 7:30, 8 o'clock. By 9:10, I might have even gotten there at 7 actually. And then by like 8:10, I'm looking around, and you've seen the movie Clueless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Ty shows up at that party where she dances with Paul Rudd and she's standing there between the two tall guys? And she looks up, you can't even see their heads, they're just so tall. That was two of my guy friends. I was standing in between them and they just looked like trees, and I was just like, okay, whoa. And then I was like sitting in between them on the couch and I was like, this is too much. I think I'm too high right now. What is happening? And of course I had taken a couple hits of weed, and I just then remember moving to the kitchen, and one of my friends was telling a story and he was really into it, and at first I'm laughing with him, I'm having a good time, and then all of a sudden it turned and I was like, I don't like his story anymore. Who is he? Why is he telling this? Why is he being so dramatic? And I go, I have to leave. And I think I just grabbed my bag and I looked at one friend and just go, I have to leave. I'm
God.
I am too high. And so I walk out and I start walking home. The street I live on is more like an avenue. I'm at the top of the street walking to my apartment, and my apartment's at the end of the street. And Sophia, the street just kept getting longer and longer. And the closer I got, the further away my apartment got. Now, this was a few years back, and like I said, the next day was Easter. My brother was taking a flight in. He had was filming a movie or something, so he had come back into New York, and my parents were like, we'll pick you up at the airport so we can all, and we'll scoop up Rocky, and then we'll all go back to, I'm from Connecticut, we'll all go back to Connecticut and have Easter. My parents pick me up after they pick up my brother from the airport. I immediately am sideways in the car. I stayed sideways for the remainder of the day. We get to my aunt's house. I'm sideways on the couch. I couldn't lift my head. I had the worst weed hangover of my life. And it was just from too many edibles. So I wasn't vomiting in my friend's bathtub. Nor do I recommend vomiting in a bathtub for the future. I mean, do what you gotta do. But I can empathize with your highness.
Yeah, I mean, you took a lot that night. Like,
That was a lot.
That's like a lot.
It is. Now I take 100 milligrams, like, because I've been smoking so much throughout the pandemic, which I'm like, I don't even care about it because I just do it at the end of the night. But like I said, I switched to edibles mostly now, and now I take 100 milligrams, and I'm like, can we just like up the ante with these guys? I don't feel anything here. I'm like taking hits from the bong just to like boost it up a little bit. But yeah, 100 milligrams back then for me was way too much. So I feel for you.
And like at that point when you realize that you're too high, it's like too late.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There's no going back.
Yeah, like you're in it now.
You're absolutely in it. I always say too, if I get too high, which thankfully these days is rare, but if I get too high, I get what people call the Rocky shakes, and I just get like I'm like a little wet dog. I'm like, I'm so high, I just need to like go to bed. This is terrible. When did this become terrible?
Everything starts freaking you out. You're like, oh my God, like what's going on?
It's so bad. So I do also try to be careful with edibles, but they're so unpredictable, right?
You really don't know what you're gonna do. Like, am I gonna be like sleepy? Am I just gonna be thrown in a bathtub, or am I gonna be fine? Like, I don't know.
Now you're in LA, so there's dispensaries everywhere. Have you checked any out, or is it in no dice because of the pandemic? You can't really get in them.
Oh, I've checked out like I think one or two, which have been pretty cool. I try to get like the lowest dose now of edibles. I'm like, and then I'll take like half of that just for like a nice high.
And just to see, because once you know what half of it is once, you can next time be like, oh, I can take a little bit more or a little bit less. Now, I went to a dispensary in LA, and it was kind of shady. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
It was kind of shady. It was like in what are those called? Strip mall. It was in a strip mall parking lot, and you go in, and there was this woman, and she was behind the glass. You couldn't see her face. They take your ID, they make you fill out all these paper, and then they tell you when you can go in. Is that the same?
I've been to one like that in Vegas, which I thought was so weird because like it feels like illegal.
Oh yeah.
They take your ID too, and I'm like, why do you need my ID? Like,
yeah.
And then they take you to a back room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like crazy weed all over the place in the back room. But the ones in LA that I have been to have been more like regular stores.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's like an ice cream truck outside, and there's like open doors. It's pretty chill.
Well, you'll have to get a little familiar with the dispensaries out there, even though it's legal now in New York. So we'll be getting our own dispensaries. But you'll
Oh
have to get a.
my god.
I know, isn't that crazy? But you'll have to get familiar with them, and then when I come out to LA, you'll be able to give me a tour of the
Yes.
non-creepy dispensaries, and we can take some safe edibles together and
Yes.
try to keep our food down.
Because definitely the edible that I took was made by somebody
Mm-hmm.
and was not like it was like he just did whatever he wanted.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah, yeah.
what's in there.
There's no way to regulate it when it's made by
Oh,
a friend. Now I do want to talk about a little bit. This is not edible related. Your parody video.
yeah.
You did a parody video from Lizzo's Truth Hurts, but it
Yeah.
was to stop Asian hate. And this video, I love a parody. This video was so clever, so poignant. Obviously, I know what gave you the inspiration of the slew of terror that is our fucking country. But have you done a lot of parody videos in the past?
No, so this is my first time ever doing anything
What?
like that.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so
It
it was
was
actually
so good.
cute. So it was actually with old school sketch show.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, what ideas, like what should I do? So I just threw out a pitch. I was like, hey, like maybe I want to do a parody rap about Asian
Uh-huh.
hate. And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, go for it. At first I was gonna write my own like melody, like a beat,
Mhm.
whatever. And then the director, Taryn, was like, why don't you find a song so it's easier for you?
Yeah.
So I was like, creating Truth Hurts. That's like a song I know off by heart. So I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
okay. Wrote the lyrics, made the music, shot all the videos, and within like 4 days, I think, and then just like created that.
Wow. Well, that's very impressive. I wish that those lyrics in that video didn't have to be made, but you did it in it's such a challenging thing to take comedy out of tragedy and make it tasteful, and I feel like you checked every box with that. The video was so enjoyable. You should be so proud. When this episode comes out, obviously, I hope that that is not topical anymore. I hope that this is not trending in the news
Right.
anymore. However, I still will be sharing the video because I think everybody needs to see it. Anyone who hasn't seen it, it was so great. So what kind of direction are you going in next with comedy?
I really want to keep making more like skits.
Okay.
I want to make more parodies. I feel like it
Mhm.
was just so much fun, and I feel like I could do better if I had more time. I feel like
Mhm.
it was a bit of a rushed project, that one.
It
And I
didn't
feel like
seem rushed at all. It seemed
thank
really
you.
polished, and even the quality of the video was fantastic, which makes it anything with better video quality makes something so much more digestible. So it's great quality, great. But so you want to go in that direction, making parodies?
Yeah, I definitely want to make more parodies. I want to make more skits. I
Mm-hmm.
more like TikTok videos.
Uh
I
huh.
want to write like I want to dabble into like drama as well and like have like
Yeah.
comedy as well. I just want like yeah, just be able to write, be more creative, be my own like boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think you have the skills for it. And as far as tapping into drama, um, I will say this. I forget who said it, and it'll probably come to me. Maybe I'll shoot you a message after it comes to me, or if I find out who said it. But it was a comedian who said it. I was listening to a podcast, and they said that comedians are underused when it comes to drama.
Mhm.
A lot of dramatic actors can't do comedy, but
Yes.
almost every comedian can do drama.
Oh, yes. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And it's so good when they do.
Hmm.
But a lot of people don't take comedians seriously. So
Yeah, I know. But like comedy is actually a lot harder to do than drama.
absolutely,
People don't
absolutely.
understand, I feel like.
And comedy, it's just so challenging. So
Mhm.
the stuff you're putting out there is incredible, and I really look forward to seeing more of your work. Hopefully, hearing more of your crazy stories, especially now that you're in LA and can make a few more memories.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the adventure to hit me.
It's so different from New York, right?
So different. It's crazy. I mean, I miss like the hustle and the bustle of New York,
Uh-huh.
walking everywhere.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, LA is a lot more dangerous than New York.
Oh, I believe that. I felt very unsafe. I went with my friend Isabel, and she and I were kind of like, we are New Yorkers through and through. This ain't for us.
Mm-hmm. Like the homeless, the crazies, it's like insane.
Yeah. We were staying in Los Feliz when we stayed there, and we took the subway like psychopaths. Do not recommend. 10 out of 10
Oh
do
no,
not
not in LA.
recommend. We're New York girls. We can take the subway. We're not going to take a $90 cab from LAX to Los Feliz. And we got off the subway, and this woman just like it was this boulevard we were walking on close to our friend's place, and then there was just a one random tent, and this woman just popped out of the tent and screamed in our face and was like so scary. And I get it, it's a homeless problem the country should be addressing and the state should be addressing, but it was still like, bitch, get the fuck out our face. Are you crazy? Yes, you are. But it was really scary. So just continue to be safe out there, and let everybody know everywhere they can follow you on social media, because if they're not following you on social media, they need to be.
Oh, okay. My Instagram is Sophia S.J. Lee, with 2 E's.
Perfect.
I have TikTok, Sophia S. Lee with 2 E's.
Perfect.
And yeah, I think that's about it.
Beautiful. Are you on Twitter?
No, I don't use Twitter.
Ugh, it's so hard to use anyway. I like tweet once a week, and I feel like I'm doing a good job if I can even manage that. So I don't blame you. It's just like a hassle.
It's like kind of like a diary, right?
Kind of. A diary that goes so quickly that no one reads until you get really famous, and then they're like, let's check your diary entry from 2006.
That is so true.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Well, Sophia, I thank you so much for sharing your story. That was a great edible story, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It was so much fun.
Good. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sophia. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.